Hello, friends. Soon I'll be announcing a course on how to master body, mind, and experience of the world based on a deep understanding of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, which will include all 8 limbs, social emotional intelligence, yogasana, breathing techniques, pratyahara, and of course dharana, dhyan, samadhi as a complete prescription, and also some advanced meditations based on interoception and visceroception, and interoception and interoceptive regulation or visceroceptive regulation. So I want to introduce a few terms and some scientific basis for all this. As you know, in the West, the preoccupation has always been with fight or flight response, the stress response, which is basically a survival response. But if you manage to survive, then the next response is adaptation. And then from adaptation, your next journey becomes, I would say, to flourish. Adaptation leads to the next evolution of the journey, which is living a life of flourishing and then ultimately to flow. These are the stages of experience. And as we move from survival to adaptation, the most important role is that part of our autonomic nervous system, which we call the parasympathetic nervous system. And of the nerves in the parasympathetic nervous system, there's just one nerve which is really important, and it is the dominant nerve in our body, the longest nerve in our body. It's called the vagus nerve. I've spoken about vagal activation in previous videos, but today I'd like to share with you a fact that I actually didn't know, that many people didn't know. And that is that the vagus nerve has 2 kinds of fibers. All nerves have 2 kinds of fibers, but in the vagus nerve, the afferent fibers are 80%, and the efferent fibers are only 20%. The afferent fibers carry sensory information upward from organs to the brainstem. And this includes visceral information about taste, digestion, heart rate, blood pressure, breathing, gut inflammation, etc. But this information also includes emotional information, feelings of calmness, safety, and well-being. And so these fibers contribute to the brain-gut axis, influencing mood, digestion, and overall health. The efferent fibers, those which carry motor commands downward from the brain to the body, includes the parasympathetic regulation of heart. And that includes slowing heart rate, increasing heart rate variability, promoting digestion, conserving energy. Also, the efferent, the downward moving fibers of the vagus nerve, control the movement of the palate, pharynx, larynx, important for speaking and swallowing. They help to relax and calm the body by activating the parasympathetic nervous system and influence the immune system through their connection to gut immune cells. And they also actually interact with the microbiome, which is very interesting because microbiome is the dominant gene information in our body. And the vagus nerve plays a crucial role in the two-way communication between the gut microbiome and the brain through the gut-brain axis. So the afferents fibers, the ones that go upward, which constitute 80% of the fibers, they carry information from the gut to the brain. This information includes signals about the composition and activity of the microbiome, nutrient absorption, inflammation, and overall gut health. And then the fibers going downwards, 20%, from the brain to the gut. These signals influence gut motility, immune function, and even the composition of the microbiome. So this two-way conversation is going on. Microbiome to brain. Gut bacteria produce metabolites like short-chain fatty acids that interact with the vagus nerve and the vagal nerve endings. And the vagus nerve transmits information about these metabolites and also about gut health and inflammation to the brain stem. This can influence mood, anxiety, cognitive function, and even pain perception. The brain to microbiome information sends signals through the vagus nerve to regulate gut motility, secretion of digestive enzymes, and immune responses. This can directly influence the composition and activity of the microbiome. And of course, now we know from research that deep breathing and meditation, which activate the vagus nerve, also promotes a healthier gut and helps relieve stress and increases the health of the microbiome. So, given all this, I would like to share with you some information what we call interoception and visceroception, which happens with the practice of pratyahara. Interoception is the opposite of perception, okay? Is the opposite of perception, and interoception and visceroception, which is a form of interoception. Both interoceptive and visceroceptive awareness are two sides of the same coin, both referring to the ability to sense and interpret internal signals your body sends you. While sometimes used interchangeably, there are subtle differences between interoception and visceroception. So interoception focuses on physiological sensations arising from your muscles, your joints, internal organs, like heart rate, breathing, gut feelings, and muscle tension. And visceroception specifically deals with sensations from your internal organs, like hunger, like thirst, like fullness, nausea, bladder pressure, and of course, what's happening in your colon as well. There are many ways to regulate these activities through mindful breathing, through body scans, and through various ways to activate specifically the different branches of the vagus nerve. So here is what I will share with you as we move on. How to use your awareness to be inside the body through pratyahara and interoceptive and proprioceptive and visceroceptive awareness, but also how to regulate it through various techniques, including breathing, heart awareness, body awareness, lung awareness, gut awareness, organ awareness, but also then to use the motor fibers of the vagus nerve to change motility or relax motility or play with it in any way whatsoever. So that is one thing that I'll be teaching this course, Advanced Meditations for Daily Enlightenment. And then I will also show you in this course how to move outside the body and experience the body from the outside. The so-called out-of-body experience is nothing other than awareness looking at the body from the outside. That's it. And then also awareness can navigate mental space, and ultimately awareness can resolve into its essential state as pure awareness or non-local awareness, where it is experienced as the infinite source of everything, not just what we're talking about, motor activity, sensory activity, but also navigating what we call mental space, the space of thoughts, emotions, imagination, memory, desire, and also navigating the web of relationship and ultimately resolving into its pure state of pure consciousness, the infinite, irreducible, non-local state of being. So I'm hoping to teach this, and it's a kind of a elaboration of something I used to teach, which used to be a 1 week course at the Seduction of Spirit. And uh, that course I'm no longer teaching, but I'm going to expand on that course. That course was based on just Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi, on various aspects of the body and the mind. But this time I'm going to take it a little deeper, include everything that was in the course, Seduction of Spirit, but expand deeper in the ways I just mentioned with the scientific backing as well. Okay, so stay tuned. It's going to be called Advanced Meditations and Practices for Daily Enlightenment, but will also, of course, include mastery of body, mind, and experience of what we call everyday reality. Daily meditations and practices for everyday enlightenment. If you like this, I'd be encouraged to proceed with this course, which I'm developing anyway, but I'll proceed with completing it forthwith. Have a good day, my friends.